Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the shop. As you can see, I've got the floor back on the deck of the Fuso. However, it's upside down, and the reason for that is I need to finish welding it. So let's get to it. Hang on a minute though. How did I get this on here? It was over leaning against that Land Cruiser a minute ago. First things first, gotta move the truck. Definitely need to clean up the shop floor. There's about 6 months worth of dirt here. To start, I'm placing it flat on the floor with the bottom side up. As I lower it down to the floor, I'm landing the far end on my mechanic's creeper so I can pick the other end up and roll it into position. With a simple roller under the front, I pick up the back and roll the whole assembly onto the truck. Time to break out the TIG welder. Cleaning the oxide layer off aluminum is an important step to do before welding, as it takes more heat to burn through this than it does to make the aluminum molten. Since I'm welding a square corner box tube to a floor pan with a radius corner, I'm going to try a few different methods of filling the gap. The first method is going to be 2 passes, and I'm using 3/32 filler rod. Well, let's just say it worked, but not really the best. For the second spot, I'm going to start out with the same pass on the floor pan with the 3/32 rod. That came out looking pretty clean. For the second pass, I'm going up to a massive 1/8 inch thick filler rod. I've never used this thick of a filler rod before, but it seems to be working. A little bit on the lumpy side, but not too bad. This time I'm just going to try doing a single pass with the 1/8 rod. Yep, let's do some more. I think I can live with that. I'm placing approximately 2.5 inch long stitches about 24 inches apart, offset by 12 inches from the stitch pattern I used on the other side. I may add more stitches later, but this is a start. Welding the center seam is a little difficult as it's just out of the comfortable reaching range, since the flat deck is about 4 feet off the ground. So I'm standing on a stool and operating the foot pedal control on the stool as well. Not as easy as the outsides, but it's manageable. I'm still not amazing at TIG welding, but this build is definitely helping me get better. Still a bit lumpy and probably a bit too cold. To try to avoid as much heat warping as possible, I've only been doing a few welds at a time and then letting everything cool. High-frequency welding, when slowed down, sounds like my old Case 580 backhoe idling. Okay, maybe not quite, but it's not that far off. Do you hear it? When comparing these welds to the earlier ones, I think that came out okay. I'm sure a couple of you have noticed that I have got a lot of clamps and shims and bars setup in this arrangement. And the reason for that is aluminum likes to move around when you put heat to it. So all of these welds are going to try and make this thing into a banana. So what I'm doing is I'm pre-stressing it in the opposite direction so that once it tries to curl into a banana, I'm starting from an upside down banana and turning into a hopefully more straight line. So I've got each corner clamped down. I've got spacers in the middle so that across the back I can pull it down this way a little bit. It's not too much of a curve, but by pulling it down, as I said, it should come more level as opposed to turning into a U. And I'm doing the same thing this way. So each time I lay a series of welds across, I come back to the edge and I sight all the way down, and I can see that it's still fairly straight. I do the same thing across the back and the front. Right now I can sight across the edge and I can see that it's still fairly straight in this direction. Fingers crossed, that'll end up with a flat floor instead of a banana floor. Now, in addition to curving the entire structure one way or the other, each of these pans in here, when I do the welds in between the pan and the box tube, try to pull tighter to the box tube, which ends up with the pan trying to curve like this. So this piece of steel here is trying to keep the bottom of the pan from bulging up in the middle. It's not perfect, but it is holding it down a little more. As you can see, these floors, of course I can't show you here, over there, they do still bow in and out a little bit. And that's because I don't have any stiffeners on the other side of this. Once I'm done all the welding on the bottom and this gets flipped over, there will be stiffeners going across the pans this way to make sure the floor doesn't bow up or down. It'll add structure to the pan, and it's also going to give me a flat area because it'll have a bend on the top to help attach the floor, inside floor down, so the floor boards to the aluminum structure. Well, I think that is about as much welding as I can cram into one episode without boring you completely to death. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, maybe give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. If you've got any questions about anything that I did, throw them in the comment section down below, and I'll do what I can to answer them. I'm not 100% done welding on the bottom of this. I just have to weld across the front and the back, but after that, this is going up with some walls. Make sure you stick around. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.